What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Anfernee, and in this video I want to talk about how to know when you need to be all cash and what you need to understand about cash and cash equivalents when you're dealing with investments. So this video is not necessarily going to go over when to time the stock market, but more of when it makes sense to have more liquidity or have more cash available on hand for emergencies and other options. And most of the time, as you're going to see in this video, you don't need to have actual cash in your bank account in order to have readily available cash for if you need it for emergencies or any other case. And to get started, let's talk about what cash and cash equivalents are, because obviously we know that cash is like the paper money that we see everywhere. This is actually motion picture only money used for thumbnails and props, but cash we are all familiar with because we can physically see it and touch it. However, cash equivalents are a little bit different, but many people have a misunderstanding of what they are. And cash equivalents are technically defined as any investments at all that can quickly be converted to cash without any cost to you. And this definition doesn't take into account volatility or any outside factors that may cause your investment to go down. It is pretty much as it says, any investment that can quickly be converted to cash. Now, some things that obviously won't apply here will be real estate or some inventory in products, but if you have things like stocks and index fund in high demand, technically they are considered cash equivalents that we're going to discuss a little bit later in the video. And the most common form of cash that we know is going to be money sitting in your checking account. This is going to be money that has the absolute most liquidity while earning the absolute lowest interest rate that you can earn. And there's no reason to go into a big explanation of why a checking account is considered a cash equivalent, but it is important to take note of that yes, your checking account, even though it has the most liquidity, probably is the cash equivalent account that is losing you the most money because you're earning so little in interest from that money being in the bank. And unless you need 100% of the money that you have available for a purchase in the next 2 or 3 weeks, there's not really a reason that you should be keeping all of your money in a checking account. It is just going to be losing value due to inflation. So there is a big reason that you want to take advantage of at least one of the other investment options or cash equivalent options that I talk about in this video. And then moving on to the next cash equivalent, it is going to be something that we are even more familiar with, and it's going to be an actual savings account. Now, a checking account and a savings account have many similar features. They are almost identical on the surface, but many savings accounts offer a higher interest rate, typically a couple hundredths of a percentage point higher, in order for you to keep and save your money in them. And the reason why people may put money into a savings account rather than a checking account is to keep their money separate and to prevent them from having the temptation of spending it. And yes, while a savings account may be considered an investment because you're earning interest on top of your money, it has the same flaw as a checking account because you are losing value due to inflation. Most savings accounts offer an interest percentage of less than 1% per year or less than 1/100% per year. So you would have to have a couple $1,000,000 in there just to make a couple $100. And while you may need a savings account for your rainy day fund, if you don't plan on spending that money, if you just truly want it for a rainy day fund, then you may want to put your money into some liquid but still interest earning investments such as bonds or fixed income, some low volatility, high stability investments that will allow you to outpace inflation and continue to increase your buying power over time. And the next cash equivalent that people always forget or maybe not even consider a cash equivalent is going to be money market mutual funds. Now, as I said, a cash equivalent or cash is any asset that can be easily converted into available cash without having the excess of fees being paid. So with money market mutual funds, if you have a large enough brokerage, you are typically able to get the money that you have invested in these mutual funds in 3 to 5 business days, and sometimes even less than that. And what money market mutual funds are going to be a combination of a ton of different individual stocks wrapped all up into one stock that you can buy for a single price. And with mutual funds, they typically include bonds or some fixed income components to it, so that the mutual fund that you buy is not only 100% the stock market, which gives it a little bit more stability. And you want stability when you're dealing with cash and cash equivalents because you don't want the value of the asset that you buy to go up and down 10% in a day if you know you're going to be needing a specific amount of money in the near future. So with mutual funds, you're typically taking advantage of having a higher interest rate or earning a higher return on your money than sitting in a savings or a checking account, while at the same time knowing that you'll have available cash from that mutual fund if you need it in the near future. It's like a balancing act between the two parties. However, there is a slightly higher chance that your investment could be less than what you put in if the market does take a turn for the worse. But if you're just planning it for a rainy day fund and you don't have any specific uses for it for the future, then you can stick your money in a mutual fund and know that it will grow at a safe, slow rate while also keeping up or exceeding the pace of inflation. To me, that is the whole point of investing in the first place, to grow wealth and to beat inflation so that your money is always worth more over time. So when exactly do you need to sell everything and go all cash? When exactly do you want to take advantage of the cash and cash equivalents and get out of the stock market to be a little bit more liquid? And I would honestly say that the answer to this would depend on your personal situation rather than what is going on in the economy at the time. So if you are someone who has a long-term investment strategy, you want to invest in stocks and index funds and things today in order for it to grow year after year, so that when you get ready to retire and live on that money, it will be a larger amount. My advice will be that you do not need to worry about the ups and downs of the economy. In 2022, the stock market is down over 20%. It is officially a recession as of right now, but there is no need to worry if you don't plan on using that money in the next 1, 2, or even 3 years. And trying to time the market has historically been a terrible idea. Historically, when the market has gone down 10, 20%, a few days or weeks later has been a time where it has recovered the most. And if you're trying to time the bottom and then get back in when it goes up, you may miss the most important part of the recovery, which is 1, 2, or 3 days after it hits that bottom. And while many people may be able to say that they can time the bottom, many market fund managers have failed to prove that they can outperform the S&P 500 on a year-over-year basis and consistently at that rate. So I would say if you are planning on retiring or using that money that you have invested in the next year or two, that will be the only time that you should consider selling everything, because you would make that purchase regardless if the market was up or down. If you're just scared because you're seeing red in your portfolio, then the best thing that you can do at this point is continue buying and continue holding and just wait for the market to recover, as it has time and time again. But with all that being said, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you found any kind of value in this video, then hit that like button for your boy, as it really does help the channel out. Also, go down to the description and get a free stock from Public for signing up and just creating an account and not having to deposit any money. That's a treat from me to you, and I hope you enjoy. However, if you like learning about cash and cash equivalents, then hit that subscribe button, as new videos will be coming out like this very, very soon. But until then, I'll see you next time, guys.